So what we're going to do is see this work that you did on the warm up, the, the two products that you multiplied together. I want you to remember what you got here because we're going to show you again how to do this using what's called partial products, using the distributive property to break up one of the numbers and solve using partial products. So if you go to the bottom of page 2, we're going to redo number 1 using partial products. Now you're going to look back and say, well, why are we doing this when it's so much easier to just kind of do it in your head? And the reason is because we're in the decimal part of the module, is that you can do this trick using multiplication of decimals by breaking up the decimal into what's called partial products. Okay, so the way it works is I rewrote example or warm-up number 1, 30 times 12. Out of these two numbers, I'm going to tell you this. We like to keep single digits as single digits, and we like numbers that end in zeros. So which of these two numbers does not end in a zero? 12, right? So that's the number we're going to break up. So we're going to write down 12. And watch how we do this. This 30 that did not get broken up gets written outside the set of parentheses. So you're going to put your 30 outside the parentheses, and we're going to break up 12. We like numbers that end in zeros and single digits. So how would you break up 12 so that one of them ends in a zero and one of them is a single digit? Jack. 10 plus 2. Now, I don't know, did they teach you in elementary school that parentheses means to multiply? Some people yes, maybe some people no. Okay. When you see a number outside the parentheses, it's telling you, or you should, multiply with each number inside the parentheses. So I like to draw arrows to show you how each number inside the parentheses is going to get multiplied. So we have a 30 times 10, and then a 30 times 2, which will be my second arrow. Okay? And then we're just going to rewrite it down here. 30 times 10 plus, because the plus sign just kind of gets transferred down, 30 times 2. That's the part that's kind of new, I think, if you haven't seen yet. But now we're just going to evaluate the partial products. What's 30 times 10? 300. And then what's 30 times 2? And now you got to add them together. 360. Does that match up with what you got on page 1? So you can just put yes for this. Okay, let's redo the second one. Now, I want you to raise your hand. Which number gets broken up? Raise your hand now. Alexa. 27, the number that does not end in 0. What number gets transferred outside the parentheses? Raise your hand now, please. That's what gets broken up. What goes outside the parentheses? Correct. So now I got to break up 27. How would you break it up using what strategies I told you? Which is what? 20 plus 7. Okay. I'm going to multiply 400 times what to start? Make an arrow. And then 400 times what? Second arrow. And then just rewrite it here. Okay, now be careful when you are multiplying numbers with multiple zeros. The way that I like to do it, and this may be what Mrs. Singleton was saying, but I was doing attendance, so I wasn't sure. What's 4 times 2? And how many zeros total? So you needed 8 plus 3 zeros, so it should be 8,000. And the reason why I bring that up because sometimes when you look at it and you do it in haste, I've seen errors like 800 rather than 8,000. So just be careful that you include all the zeros when you multiply those numbers together. What about 4 times 7? 28, right? How many total zeros do you see? So tack those on at the end. 2,800, right? Add it together. Should match up what you got on page 1. Add. Yes. Does it match up? Okay. Are we good so far? Now we're going to see how this applies to decimals, which is really what the core of the second part of Module 2 is. Okay, so now we have 200 times 10.6. What number gets broken up? Raise your hand, raise your hand. Jay. Right. Good. From this point forward, please raise your hand. I'll call on you only if you have your hand up. What number is going to go outside the parentheses? Eric Heft. Yes. Now, I'm curious to see or to know, how do you break up 10.6? Christina. Right, 10 plus 0.6. Don't forget, it's 0.6, not 6, because it's not 16, it's 10.6. Okay, make your little arrows. You're going to do 200 times 10 and 200 times 0.6. And I'm going to show you a little trick on how to do 200.6 also. 200 times 10, I'm just going to rewrite it. Okay, so what's 200 times 10? Jay? How much? Yes. Now let me show you the trick with decimals. What's 2 times 6? Write it. How many zeros do you see total? Write them. But here's the difference. This decimal is being moved over one spot from the right. So you've got to do one spot from the right here. And you get, instead of 1,200, what should it be? 120. Does everybody see what I did there? Okay. Now, if you know in your head that if you're multiplying by a value that's less than 1, you know that this number here has to be less than 200. And 120 is less than 200. But if you get hung up and you're not sure what to do, use the zero trick. Just remember you've got to move your decimal over. Okay, so now add it. Add these two. Francesca. Done. Okay? You can. If you move the decimal one spot to the left, you know you've got to get rid of 1 0. Yes. It's another way to do it. Okay. Then you've got now this, which is really the last example, because now you have 3 partial products. Well, what number gets broken up, Lewis? Okay, so always start with that first. Knowing what to break up gets you started. What number is on the outside, Noah? Now I want to know how you're going to break up 25.4. Sarah. Okay. Plus. Plus. Yes. You're in essence breaking up the number by place value. That's how it works. All right, make your arrows. That look right? All right, let's multiply the partial products. 300 times 20. Somebody I haven't heard from, perhaps. All right, Jack, ready? How much? Correct. 300 times 5. Lily, sounds good. Here comes the tricky one. 300 times 0.4. Is our answer going to be more than 300 or less than? Hayden, you got it. 120. Okay. Crunch and munch. Add it together. Ricky. Ricky, we've missed you. Ricky. All right. Yeah, what do you got, bud? How much? Looks good. Okay. How's it look? Doable? Okay, so let's go back to the cover sheet so you know what your responsibilities, because your homework is to finish whatever's not done in class. Well, let's see what the classwork was. You have to do, if you are not advanced 6 through 10, you'll be surprised how quickly you'll go through this. Once you know what to do, you'll be good. And then advanced, you'll tack on 11 through 13. So now listen, do me a favor, go to page 10, go to page 6 for a minute. I know. I want it on the recording. So we have a lot of people out today. Okay, if you go to page 6, if you look at the very bottom, it says check your answer by multiplying the, doesn't matter, it says the same thing on every page. Check your answer by multiplying the two numbers together, right? I'm going to let you use a calculator for that rather than actually doing it. So I'll leave the calculators on the table, but it's only for checking to make sure that your answer is correct at the end. Clear? Yes. Make sure you check it, because there were some kids that went to me to get keyed. The answer was wrong, and they didn't check it on a calculator.